Welcome back. Now, I'm Ted Thomas, and I've been involved in real estate for over 30 years as an entrepreneur and as an investor. Now, my specialty is tax defaulted property. I'm going to tell you a lot about that a little later on. But right now, we're going to talk about how to find land for sale near me. Now, I'm not sure where you're located or whether you have lots of land or a lot of houses near you, but one thing I know for sure, we live in a land of abundance. So there's going to be plenty of everything, and there's going to be plenty of land available close to you. So later on in the episode, I'll talk about my old standby, and that's tax defaulted land and where you can get it in local counties that are near you and how to get huge discounts. I mean, pay 10 cents, 20 cents on the dollar, and there's no mortgage and no deed of trust loan. So I'll be right back. Okay, land is everywhere. Some of it's precious and costly, and then others, well, it's kind of barren, and it's dry, and it's rocky, and it's not so hot. So let's use a comparison in Texas, for example. In West Texas, near El Paso, you're going to find a lot of barren land, a lot of rocks. The land isn't too valuable, maybe $200-300 an acre in many places. Okay, but it's not valuable because the land doesn't produce any revenue. But if you just went over to East Texas, and it's on the Gulf of Mexico, you're going to find some beautiful soil. And when you find the beautiful soil, well, then they're probably going to irrigate that, and it's going to be agricultural land, and that could go easily for $10,000 an acre. So there's a comparison between those two places. Now, there's all different kinds of land. Some people want land they can irrigate. Some people want to grow fruit trees on it. Some people want to grow timber. There's lots of things people want to do. So the point is, there's lots of different things about land. So I'm going to recommend, number one, if you're going to get involved in land sales, you want to get a real estate broker. I said a real estate broker that's involved in land sales. Why? Because they know about surveys. They know about water. They know about the roads that have to be in. They know about power. And the average person that buys in a subdivision doesn't know. All right, so land is going to really depend upon where it is, what the soil's like, and what the weather is really like. And so, as I mentioned, in Texas, some of it's really worth a ton of money, and other of it's, just worth pennies on the dollar. So if you want land that's you're going to cultivate, well, you got to think about that. So I would say, I know you want to find land, you'll find it, but what's your desire? What are you trying to do? What's your outcome that you're looking for this land? What do you want to do with it? You want to build a little home and then have a farm out there in the back 40 or something like that? I don't know what you want to do. Maybe you want to put in a lake. I have no idea, but whatever you desire, you want to know and judge the land purchase before. You want to know if you're going to be able to get all those things. So my opinion is going to be a lot different because I look for land and I look for property, real estate property, especially when I can get it at rock bottom prices. All right, so here's an example that everybody knows about, okay? And that is, if you had a beachfront, a beachfront property is going to be worth a lot because people want to look at the ocean. Be the same thing on a nice river. People want to look at the water, and it's very nice. But a mile inland, the same amount of land is probably much cheaper. By that I mean maybe only 10% of the beachfront property. So land has value, and it's going to have value depending upon where it is, beach or inland. It's going to have value depending upon what can be done with the land. Could you irrigate it? Or is it barren land? So there's a lot of things to think about, and that's why I say think about having a broker. So my first place that I would suggest you look at the multiple listing system. Now, that system is a database. It's a good database, and it has a lot of property, real estate property in it. All right, so that's good, but they'll also have land in there. All right, now think about Zillow, think about Trulia. Those sites they're really proud of what they're doing because they're talking about a lot of property and place to go. But there will be land mixed in with that. So those are good places that it's easy to look. Now, there's nothing wrong with looking at Craigslist or look at eBay. There's going to be people that are trying to sell their property. And don't forget for sale by owner, FSBO properties. All right, now the FSBO properties, that's the owner trying to sell the property. For sale by owner. All of those are places to look, all right? Now, there's going to be way too much around you, all right? That's why I say you've got to figure out exactly what you want. What's the outcome for this land? Is it a beautiful little place for your house with a lake and a little farm? I don't know. Or maybe you want to have row crops out there. I don't know what you want, but you need to kind of think about that. Now, I always recommend a broker on land. Why? Because they know a lot about it. They know everything from drainage to where the water is. What if there's no water? You're going to put wells? How deep do the well have to be? All right. those land brokers know a lot of information that a regular residential broker, they sort of know, but nothing like what a land guy does. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're going to start doing that. I personally like to buy at tax defaulted auctions, so I get a chance to research it in a much different way. All right, so just know that land is unique from buying real estate houses. It's just unique. Very easy to figure the value of a house. Not so easy to figure out the value of a land. Why? Well, maybe it's got timber on it. Well, maybe it's got row crop on it. Maybe it's got fruit trees. All of these things make a big difference in the value of that land. So buying houses in a subdivision, it's easy to compare. Matter of fact, you probably find the person that's going to buy it from you right within the same subdivision. So land is there's a big difference, and you need to think about talking to a broker before you do much about it. All right, now I happen to be involved in a part of the business that's very profitable for the people that know how. So nationwide, every county in the United States has tax defaulted property. Now, what does that mean? That means people didn't pay their tax. And if they don't pay their tax, the legislature of every state has passed laws. And the law simply says, if you don't pay your taxes, then the local county will cancel your privilege of owning property. You can't own the property unless you pay taxes. And so the local county, the Board of Supervisors, or the Board of Commissioners, what they're going to do is they're going to mandate that the treasurer, the county treasurer, is going to come out and move you off the property. They're going to confiscate your property. They're going to take your property away, and they're going to sell it at auction. Now, when they take it away, they don't pay you any money. They just move you off the property. And what do they want with that property? Well, they don't want the property. They want to get it sold. So what they're going to do, it'll have a tax assessed value like all property. They're going to discount from that 60, 70, and 80%. So now you're talking about getting property for 60, 70, and 80% discount, and the property will not have a mortgage or a deed of trust loan. So without those two things, now you're getting bargain real estate. So did you want to buy houses? Well, there'll be houses on the default list. There'll be land on the default list. There'll be everything that you can conceive on that default list that has to do with land. Why? Because the people don't pay the tax, well, then something's going to happen. Now, are you going to find those on Craigslist? No. But you're going to be able to sell it on Craigslist. You're going to be able to sell it on eBay. You're going to be able to sell it for sale by owner. You can do all that. But the big key is you want to find it, you want to buy it cheap. All right, you're not buying from a broker, you're buying from the local county. Now, every county in the United States will have tax defaulted properties to sell. I don't know what will be there, but I can tell you in the populated counties with low population, there'll be dozens to start with. Some of those low population counties will even have hundreds of properties they're going to sell. Every single year they do that. Now, the counties with large populations, they'll have hundreds to start with, but I've seen many auctions with those large population counties. There'll be thousands of properties to sell. I'm telling you, thousands of properties to sell, and they're selling them at 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar with no mortgage on the property. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about how to find land for sale near me. Well, if you want to do that, you can certainly go to those auctions and be able to find them. All right, now I said before that, in the regular market, you're going to need a broker to kind of assist you, to kind of give you some education. All right, but there's going to be tons of websites, whether it's Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, you name it, they're all going to have property for sale. I'm a specialist in tax defaulted property, so where I look at the tax defaulted auction in all 3,000 counties. Every single county has that. We can do all this online. We can actually buy online. We can actually sell online. All right, so the National Association of Realtors will tell us that the land sales are getting more and more and more. Now, that's probably because with the inflation that we're suffering through right now, the real estate prices are just going sky high. So the little guy probably wants to start with some land. Well, don't buy just any land. You need to go to the websites that specialize that, and they would be people like Land Search and Land Hub and Land and Farm. You go there, they're going to be able to help you with land. You're going to need a broker to help you. Don't just go buy that land. You need a broker to help you out with that. All right, so I'm not suggesting that you don't look at all of those sites. I'm suggesting you look at all of them, because to find land, it's abundant. There's going to be way too much. So you want to buy one that's special to you. What's your outcome for this land? Is your outcome that you want to grow crops, Well, then you got to get good soil, right? Is your outcome that you want to have trees and you want to have forest there, or you want to have fruit trees? What are you going to do about water? All right, what are you going to do about power? All right, you need to think about what kind of ingress and egress is taking place, what kind of easements are involved. All those things are important, and that's what you're going to want to talk to a real estate broker. All right, now I specialize in tax defaulted properties. All right, you can find them on the county websites, and you can find them in the newspaper. They sell the properties for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar. That's the starting bid. And will other people bid them up? Well, of course they will. They're going to try to get the best deal they can at the auction. So these properties are available across the United States in all 3,000 counties. You can do that. Now, if you're going to buy tax defaulted property or any property, make sure you got boots on the ground. Why do you have to have boots on the ground? You need to look at that property. You need to look at it, and then if you haven't got a survey, you need to get a survey. You don't want to just hope, where's your property line? So you're going to look at the property, but what if it had a chicken farm right next door? Or what if there had been a hurricane and the property was damaged? Or what if there had been a fire? All of those things could happen to your property. So you always want to check the property before you bid, before you buy. I don't care whether it's an auction or any time. All right, now I'm going to leave now, and as I leave, I want to tell you right below me, if you're interested in these kind of properties, you can get an auction list for your county and counties close to you. That'll tell you more about those auctions. Just go right below me, and they'll give you suggestions on what auction property you want to buy, and you can get the list of that. It doesn't cost you anything. My name is Ted Thomas. I'll see you on the next video.